Take me out to the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and crackers.
No. That's just too expensive nowadays. Fuck that.
I don't know the rest of the song.
For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game.
Up your butt, Joe Boo.
Welcome, everybody. This is the main event here at Cinema Gulp. It is our top 5 sports movies of all time.
So for my top 5 sports movies of all time, I wanted to start first with an honorable mention at number 6, Miracle, or is it Miracle on Ice, with Kurt Russell, about the 1980s Olympic ice hockey team. Fantastic movie, great story, but didn't quite make the list. But my number 5 movie is actually Rudy. I've never really been a huge football fan, but there's just something about that movie and some of the scenes and just the inspiration behind it. And it's an underdog story. It's the guy that has everything going against him, and he just continues to work hard and just continues to be himself, continues to be nice to the right people, has a lot of nice people that help him along the way, and eventually reaches his goal. It's kind of a Disney movie to me. And when I say that, like animated kind of fantasy, because the deeper you dig, a lot of that, the stuff in the movie didn't actually happen. So there wasn't that scene where all the players come in and lay their jerseys on the coach's table saying like, hey, put Rudy in, I'm not playing. But just, you know, the life lessons in it, the perseverance, as I already said, it's really inspiring. Like, you're watching that movie and you're really rooting for Sean Astin.
Brings me to tears, pretty much.
Yeah, you're rooting for him, and you want that payoff. Like, you want him to see the action in the game. You want all that. The movie's earned it. You know, to buy into that movie, there's just something so simple. There's just the hard work and determination, and just never giving up on yourself, like believing in yourself. That's the message of that movie.
This one's an honorable mention because it's somewhat in the same vein as what my number 5 pick is. And this honorable mention is Dodgeball. I love Dodgeball because it is exploratory of the sport of dodgeball. It's not just a comedy. It gives you, I mean, way over the top, you know, like, it's definitely a sports comedy. It's not just a, you know, typical 2004 Ben Stiller, Vince Vaughn comedy. It's a sports comedy. And I find it very funny because my number 5 pick is Kingpin from 1996, bowling comedy directed by the Farrelly brothers, one of their first feature after Dumb and Dumber. It stars Woody Harrelson, Randy Quaid, Vanessa Angel, Bill Murray, who plays Ernie McCracken, which is one of the greatest movie characters of all time.
I have to agree.
In my opinion. Just the fact that he's a champion bowler that seems to have made him the super powerful, influential person is really funny. I think it's one of the funniest movies ever made, in my opinion.
I got up a little early, so I took the liberty of milking your cow.
We don't have a cow. We have a bull.
The movie puts you into places that you didn't even know existed, like the underground world of bowling hustling with, you know, oh, we know you're hustlers. If you want a real straight up money game, go to this address. And you're like, what? What's happening? And then just the championship world of competitive bowling is so funny. And then, you know, your little outlier where Roy Munson, played by Woody Harrelson, who is also just perfection in this, attempts to sort of return to the sport by managing Ishmael, played by Randy Quaid, who's just like Amish bowler that doesn't know the rules or the scoring properly, so he's not quite as good as Roy Munson thinks he is, but then he makes him that good. It has one of the greatest montages in any movie ever made, where it's between Ernie McCracken and Roy Munson just bowling for the championship, and both of their comb-overs are just coming up to look like peacocks the more and more that they play. It's fucking so funny. There's a great line where Ishmael is like, I feel so in awe being in the presence of such great athletes, and it pans through the bowling.
It's kind of intimidating to be in the presence of so many great athletes.
Tin Cup. Tin Cup would technically be in my 5, but we've got an entire video to talk about it already, and I think Danny's going to bring it up again. So it's a great movie. It deserves its spot, but because I'm not going to discuss it, I'm going to go in a different direction. I'm actually going to talk about a movie I do love, that's going to be my number 5. There are a ton of Air Bud movies. One of them is for golf, and I was very surprised to see Air Bud. And it was very entertaining. I was hoping for a sequel, but they went with Frisbee golf instead. I'm here to talk about a movie that my son loves and I love as well. We're going with Cars. Cars is actually super entertaining. I've had to watch it a number of times with my son. He loves this movie, but it really is a great Pixar movie. Everybody shits on this movie for some reason, considers it a lesser Pixar movie. I think they're just not really paying attention to it. Yes, there's movies like Finding Nemo and Toy Story that are far better than this, but I think compared to a lot of what we've got lately from Pixar and Disney animation, this is still great. It's got a great screenplay. It really has a great screenplay. It's very witty, very funny. It's a complete ripoff of Doc Hollywood. If you've seen Cars and know its story, it is 100% taking the exact plot line of Doc Hollywood, but it injects the racing sports element of the movie, and that does change it up enough to have its own identity. And then you've got great characters. Yes, these are all silly Disney animated characters, but they're great. Yeah. Owen Wilson as Lightning McQueen is super entertaining. Like, he is, I never get sick of that character. I've had to watch him in lots of different videos, not just this movie, but they've made shorts and things that my son and I have watched. It always brings it to that character. He is super fun. I mean, he's just doing the Owen Wilson shtick, which always works, but it works really well in the context of Lightning McQueen. And all the other side characters are really entertaining. There's a ton of other famous voices. Right now, I don't have them written down, so I don't have them off the top of my head, but almost all the other side characters are really entertaining with their little moments that they have. They also have Paul Newman playing kind of the Mr. Miyagi type of character who's training him. But he fills that role great, and it's like one of his last roles before he passed away. The movie starts with a really, really great race, and the direction in this is top-notch. It's John Lasseter actually directed this one. Same guy who directed the original Toy Story, who also ended up getting canceled and doesn't work much these days. But he did a great job with this movie, and in the racing scenes, he really brings you down to the asphalt level. You see little bits of asphalt flying off the tires. Like, it really brings you right into the race. The races are exciting the way that they're shot. The movie is beautiful to look at. I mean, it's animation, but it goes through so many different settings, whether it's like races that take place at night or just every scene in this movie is lit for an animated movie, lit so beautifully. It is such a great looking movie, and it has wonderful little details to bring this world of cars, sentient cars, to life, and it gives you just enough information to make it make sense. You don't have to overthink it, but it gives you enough. I love the movie for how creative it is and funny it is and great characters, but it really does have great sports moments, cause and effect action moments, which, Ben, you know I'm a huge fan of things where it's like you can understand why this took place because of the little things that cause the next thing to happen. That's how a lot of it plays out in this movie. I don't mind however many times I have to revisit this movie with my son. It's super entertaining. I hate that people consider it a lesser Pixar movie because it'd probably be in at least my top 10, maybe my top 7 or 8 of Pixar movies. I really love it. And it's a great sports movie to boot.
Okay, number 5 for me would be The Program. The reason why I like that movie is because I'm a big college football fan. You know, it talks about boosters, giving people money in the 90s. You had the quarterback that was really good. He got into trouble. Like, for example, at Michigan State, they had Jeff Smoker, who was smoking crack. So it was kind of realistic. Then you had the linebacker, Alvin Mack, came from a poor family, got money from boosters and everything, which happens all the time. Had an injury, wanted to play, wanted the shot to keep on playing after the injury. And then he has a career-ending injury. Omar Epps was really good. Halle Berry was good in it. And then the coach, James Caan, all-time great. Awesome. He was really good in it. And then you have Latimer, who he's a defensive lineman, and he gains 35 pounds. Obviously, he's definitely doing steroids. Big unintentional comedy in that.
Starting defense.
Alvin Mack, who was a linebacker, came from a poor family who had the injury and everything, was accepting mass money from boosters, and he was just telling Omar Epps, that's the way we do it. Just take it.
What's your assignment? Kill the quarterback.
You know, you go back to years in college sports, like the 90s, you had the Fab Five. You know, they got in trouble for accepting money from not even boosters. Some of them were boosters, some were just associated with the program. Nowadays, you can just do whatever you want. There's no control. You can seriously give somebody $5 million to come to my school and play quarterback. Overall, it was a good movie. I liked it a lot. And it's my number 5 movie because, for one, it came out the same time as Rudy, and I fucking hate Rudy because fuck Notre Dame.
For number 4, my picks are going to start to turn into the Kevin Costner show. So 3 out of my next 4 have Kevin Costner in them. And my first pick is Field of Dreams, which is a 1989 American sports fantasy drama film. It's directed by Phil Alden Robinson, and it's based on a Canadian novel, or a Canadian novelist's book, W.P. Kinsilla's 1982 novel, Shoeless Joe. Which is the character played by Ray Liotta. There's so many positives with this movie. There's just something magical about it. The cast is amazing too. Great performances by Kevin Costner, James Earl Jones, Ray Liotta, Burt Lancaster. It has so much going on. It's a site that you can, I believe, still go and visit. Correct me if I'm wrong. In Iowa, and there's just something magical about it. And I really enjoyed it on my recent rewatch. I was entertained the whole way through.
A few honorable mentions I want to bring up because they fall in line with sort of the theme of my number 4. So 2 of them are hockey movies. Goon. I don't know if you guys have seen Goon. I love Goon. If you haven't seen Goon, it's written and directed by Jay Baruchel, who's in a lot of like Judd Apatow movies. He's in like Knocked Up. The other underdog hockey movie I wanted to bring up is Mystery Alaska by Jay Roach. I love that movie so much. It's such a fun, very like family, local Alaskan towns, small town story about the New York Rangers wanting to sort of play them to stroke their own egos and actually finding out that they're a pretty goddamn good team. And they have this thing called the Saturday game where they play every Saturday. And they're all basically amazing hockey players that possibly could have been pros. They never really get too much into it, but Russell Crowe and Burt Reynolds are sort of the main guys. A lot of good cast in it too. That's not coming to mind, but Mystery Alaska is great underdog hockey story. My number 4 pick is Rudy, which was Danny's number 5 pick. The life of Daniel Rudiger, otherwise known as Rudy Rudiger, who harbors a dream of playing football. A lot of people have called this out for its melodrama and schmaltz. And I see those things as positives in this movie. This movie has so much heart, so much energy. Sean Astin once again delivers an Oscar-worthy performance, which he did not receive. And it's also the movie where Vince Vaughn and Jon Favreau met each other.
We're gonna give Daddy the Rain Man suite. Do you dig that? We're going to Vegas, Mike.
Vegas! You think we get there by midnight?
Money, we're gonna be up 500 by midnight.
Vegas!
Vegas, baby, Vegas!
I love Rudy. I love Sean Astin so much in this movie. He's just fantastic in this movie, as he is in pretty much everything he does. If he didn't have the range that he has, the movie just would not work. You know, the sympathy you give for him, sometimes you get frustrated with him, and then you're just constantly rooting for him. Love Rudy, number 4.
I mean, would you consider Fast and the Furious a sports movie?
I would consider the first one a sports movie, yeah.
Then I might have like 10 of those on my list, because aren't there 10 of them? And they all deserve a spot.
I think the first one...
Right.
What about Fast and the Furious?
That's definitely, yeah. I mean, that gets a pass. I mean, look at that cover, bud.
Okay, so my real pick is going to be A League of Their Own. I love this movie.
Wow.
Me too.
Wow.
It almost made my list.
A great
I was not expecting that at all.
I think a lot of mine you like, or at least a few of them. Gina Davis is so great in this.
Amazing.
Lori Petty, one of her best performances. They have great chemistry together. So many wonderful other, I mean, I'm going to get to Tom Hanks, who's a standout in this movie, but other great performers like John Lovitz and David Strathairn that have great roles. John Lovitz is like perfectly cast as the the scout. He's got great lines. He's like, "Hey, cowgirls, see the grass? Don't eat it."
Yeah,
This movie is hilarious. It's got awesome, funny lines in it. Obviously, Tom Hanks is a standout of humor in this movie. I think his performance is just really well-rounded. Like, he's this drunken idiot, well, not an idiot, but he's got this total drunk attitude at the beginning that is just freaking hilarious. But by the end, he comes around, becomes somebody that you can learn to respect and care for, and becomes a upstanding character by the end. But it's a journey throughout, but he's hilarious every step of the way, as Tom Hanks always can be. This was one of his last very overtly comedic performances before he really veered into, well, I'm going to win an Oscar with every role that I do. It's a bit of a dramedy, and there's serious moments in it. He brings so much of the humor. It's got a very old school kind of proper style of sense of humor, like where they really set up a joke and have a punchline and a payoff. Jokes like Gina Davis is brought to the she's brought to pick up the rest of the girls from the club by some young kid, and he's like, "Hey, why don't we jump in the back and you can make me a man?" And she's like, "Why don't I smack you around for a while?" Well, can't we do both? It does a great job of being a sports movie. I think it has a lot of baseball in it.
Yep.
It's a great look at a league that not everybody would know anything about. Gives us enough to kind of wrap our heads around why this league existed and why it was important. I love that it's a period piece. It really does help transport me back to the 1940s.
It does.
Penny Marshall is the director of this movie, and she did a great job transporting me, which is what film's supposed to do. I've always felt that way while watching this movie. Hans Zimmer did the score for this movie, but it's like a big band score, which fits the time period. It's like his early 90s stuff he's so diverse that you don't even hear the sounds of who he became, where he's like got a sound that you can pick out and go, "Oh, that's Hans Zimmer." I worked at the movie theater during this movie's release. I would walk into the theater after the movie was over and clean the theater while that song was playing many times. That when I hear that song, I think about picking up popcorn, but it's a nice memory. It's a nice memory.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Takes me back to that time. But all these other side characters, I don't know who plays some of the other actors, like the beautiful blonde that's still beautiful in her older days or whatever. Like, she's gorgeous. Tay Leone, she's on one of the other teams. She doesn't get a speaking part, but she shows up a number of times in the movie, and obviously she's gorgeous. And I love those moments with her father when he's like trying to convince John Lovitz to take her. Like, you almost want to cry watching those moments take place, because you feel so bad for Marla and how rude he is to her in that moment. But it's like, it's great. That's part of the dramedy of this film. Like, it really can hit you in all. And as you point out, Ben, there's the scene where the letter comes from the war office and stuff. Like, this movie can hit you when it needs to. But I love the baseball aspect of this movie, especially the final baseball game. This one has a very exciting final game. A lot of that is helped out with Hans Zimmer. He all throughout the movie, it has this fun, upbeat, big band sound to it, which is great. But when you get into the tension of that final game, where, through the direction and acting and everything, you get a lot of like steely-eyed looks as they're looking each other down, looking down the batter and the pitcher and checking the bases and all that stuff. I just love the way they play with everyone on the field, checking out the game. And I also love how it gives us a non-traditional ending. You don't know who you want to win in those final moments. I mean, I think most people kind of side with wanting Gina Davis's team to win because that's who you've been following. But there's a more poetic ending to it to see Lori Petty's character be the one that comes out triumphant. And I like that ending. I love it. So yeah, League of Their Own. So funny, so touching, great cast, really great baseball movie when it needs to be, great period piece and period details. I love it.
Number 4, I'm going with Any Given Sunday. Got a lot of great actors in it, and does have LT, Lawrence Taylor, probably the greatest linebacker of all time in the NFL. Give me some of that cortisone shit.
Give a shit about medical, doc. Give me some of that cortisone shit.
Jamie Foxx's character, I didn't really care for too much, but I guess he was important to it. You had Dennis Quaid, the aging quarterback who was, I guess you can compare him to maybe like a Troy Aikman. I envision Willie Beeman's character as the way his trajectory was going was kind of like a Cincinnati quarterback from the 2000s called Jeff Blake, where he took off and became, got into the playoffs. He was pretty decent, really kind of fizzled off. The rest of the movie was, had really good characters. Al Pacino was an older, aging coach who had a lot of knowledge. He was kind of a drunk, but he did bang Elizabeth Berkley. LL Cool J was really good. Julian, the running back, just wanted his stats in the beginning. Kind of like Emmitt Smith just wanted his stats. He wanted to become the all-time rushing leader in the NFL. He stayed around way too long. Come on. Walter Payton, Barry Sanders, way better than him. But he went to the Arizona Cardinals, and he had the offensive line in Dallas. And then we come to James Woods, the team doctor who was fucking cheerleaders or whatever he was doing. He was the guy where, give me that good shit from LT. He was great in the movie. Yeah, he was egotistical, and he would, just keep the players being able to play by injecting them, not really like a doctor would do, but when he didn't get his way, especially when the cheerleader rejected him, he's like,
okay, stay here and get butt fucked by 12 Neanderthals.
Number 3, I'm back to Kevin Costner. Kevin Costner making another appearance. I picked McFarland USA, the track movie. It's a Disney film. Came out in 2015, directed by Nicky Caro. Roughly based on a true story. When I did the rewatch, it reminded me, this is another Rudy. It's super inspirational, the underdog. It's just really well done. It's entertaining, it's fun. I enjoy watching it. And I enjoyed the rewatch after reading about it to see how much they actually had fabricated the story or just like made it into the movie. The main character, played by Costner, supposedly gets fired from one of his teaching jobs, and that's how he ends up in McFarland, which is a rural town up the 99 here in California. That didn't actually happen. This guy never got fired. So there's just a bunch of stuff. His kids were grown, but in the movie, like when this all happened, his kids were grown, but in the movie, his kids are a lot younger and assimilating to a new community. It's a Disney film. It's got its message behind it, but it's really entertaining and definitely worthy being on my list as a sports film.
Well, I'm not going to talk too much about my number 3 because we've already talked about it a lot, which is Tin Cup. And I didn't realize how much I loved this movie until we, about a year ago, did we did the Triple Bogey show where we talked about this movie as one of the films. Golf and basketball are my favorite sports. This is by far the best golf movie ever made, so it had to go on this list. It just had to. When I revisited this movie for that other show we did, I just fell back in love with it so hard. I'm like, man, especially the last 40 minutes, which just is living a golf tournament through the eyes of Kevin Costner and Cheech and all that stuff. We talked about it already, so I don't need to get into details, but man, Tin Cup really moved up the ranks for me. So it's possibly my favorite I guess it is my favorite Ron Shelton movie.
My number 3 on the Air Bud list of movies. Air Bud does have a movie that takes place on ice. It's not hockey, but it was ice skating.
Air Bud on ice, yes.
Air Bud figure skating movie, which randomly had zombies as the judges.
Yeah, how did that happen?
But no, my real number 3 pick, we're going with, already mentioned, Miracle.
Great movie.
Such a freaking great story. Even though it's a story where we know the outcome, it's still completely compelling and exciting all the way through to the very end. This is, in my opinion, Kurt Russell's best dramatic performance.
He's amazing.
He's so freaking good in this movie, but as is everybody. I think it's just a really great cast. Noah Emmerich, who plays his assistant coach, is great. Patricia Clarkson as his wife. They're both standouts, have really great scenes with that they share with Kurt Russell.
Yep.
But also all of those players, all of the guys that are playing the hockey players, most of them are, I don't know exactly how it breaks down, but most of them are more real hockey players and less real actors. Some of them are both. They are people who came to casting calls because they want to be on screen and be actors as well, but they have the hockey skills. And that's a big part of what casts them in these roles. But they do such a great job of playing those roles and making it feel believable. So many times when you cast somebody who's more of an athlete but less of an actor, you can feel that. They don't feel natural. Their performance is wooden and terrible.
Yeah.
Shaq, I don't know. There's a lot of them out there. It doesn't even have to be big names, just people who are cast in something, but they're more of an athlete, and that's what got them the role, not their acting ability. It just really brings an authenticity to these roles. I think that the way that they didn't go with faces that we totally recognize as actors. You really like this team. You really get behind this team and see the determination they have and the way they play through their pain and just the grit and heart that they have. It makes you it's so easy to root for this team and just really get behind them all throughout the movie. And he knows that this is what it's going to take to beat the Russians, that I have to push you guys to their limits. He gives them that test so that he knows how far he can push them.
Yep.
Honestly, one of my favorite scenes in any sports movie ever is the team punishment when they're being a little too flippant during a game, not paying attention. A couple of the guys are checking out girls in the stands, and that just sets off the coach, and he says, "Get me a whistle." And he keeps them all after the game and makes them run drills going back and forth between the lines for like what seems like 2 hours after a game they've already played. Another thing about this movie is the sound design. It really kind of brings you onto the ice. I think it does a really great job of bringing the game to life, as well as the score. Great score in this movie, especially in like the final moments, like the way the final game. It just makes it so exciting the way the score plays into it. And love this movie so much. Another moment that would be one of my favorites in all sports movies is Kurt Russell's celebration when after they win that game and he walks back into the underground, the tunnels or whatever, and he has a quiet moment by himself where he raises his hands and just has that moment of victory all by himself. Like that's one of those moments that I think Kurt Russell deserved an Oscar nomination for this performance. This is my favorite hockey movie. Hockey is one of my favorite sports. And this is just the greatest.
So my number 3 movie is Shut Your Fucking Anorexic Dick-Eating Mouth. Is Wesley Snipes telling Kadeem Hardison to, while they're playing.
Does he say that?
Yeah, he says that. Anyways, it's White Man Can't Jump. And it's Woody Harrelson and Wesley Snipes. Woody plays white guy who played college basketball, had an injury, but really never made it. But he was a good player. You play college basketball, playing for money on pickup courts, you got to be pretty good. He plays a character who plays a goofy white guy, and he goes on courts and tries to hustle people for money for his girlfriend who wants to go on Jeopardy, Rosie Perez, because she's super smart and she knows all this weird shit on knowledge, which Jeopardy people do. The camaraderie between Wesley and Woody is really good. And then you have side characters like We Going Sizzler. Fucking Kadeem Hardison, who was on Different World. And it was Ron Shelton who directed it, who directed a lot of sports movies. There's a couple twists where Wesley screws Woody over by throwing a game. And, Woody loses all his money because Wesley knew Woody's shtick, which was, I'm going to be the dorky white guy and, somebody's going to come down with an injury, pick the white guy. He can be your partner. And there is one game during the movie where Wesley just didn't play well. So he lost all the money. They go back and Rosie Perez, you lost all our money.
And I'll never do that if I have to wear that stupid hoochie mama looking dress that you bought me, which was obviously a poor excuse to cover up the fact that you fucked up again.
It's very rewatchable. Wesley and Woody have a ton of chemistry. So towards the end of the movie, there's duo King and Duck, who are legends at Venice Beach. They beat everybody. They've just been there forever, and they're in town, and they beat everybody all the time. So Woody and Wesley play them. It's a good game. And the last scene, Woody finally dunks the ball when Wesley lays it up for him to dunk. And they won.
Heading to my number 2, we're staying on the ice.
Nice.
No Kevin Costner, but we're going from hockey to figure skating. And the movie that I picked is the 1992 film The Cutting Edge.
Yes.
Directed by Paul Michael Glazer. And as you just mentioned, D.B. Sweeney, Maura Kelly. Just the chemistry is incredible. For those of you that haven't seen the movie, D.B. Sweeney is a up-and-coming hockey star that's going to make it to NHL, gets injured, can't do hockey anymore, somehow gets convinced to do figure skating. She plays that role to a T. I think it's fantastic. And it's just fun. It's a great movie, great one-liners. It's a great flick. And you throw in the rom-com too. I mean, you throw in the love story. There's some great moments.
My number 2 favorite sports movie of all time. It's called The Program, and it's actually directed by David S. Ward, who made my number 1 pick as well, but I won't mention that right now. James Caan, Halle Berry, Omar Epps, Craig Schaefer, Christy Swanson, who we went to high school with, for God's sake, Joey Lauren Adams. I mean, give me a break. It's crazy. To me, this is the best movie ever made about college football. I remember going to the theater multiple times with my friends in high school at the time to watch this. I think I saw it at the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, John. Honest, it's real, it's raw, sometimes inspiring, but that's not really the point of the movie. But it never holds back. It shows both sides of the program, the life of the young players, the program which exists to make money off these players, the lengths the college sports programs will go to make sure that these players remain able to play no matter what the cost, no matter what the situation is. There's scenes in this movie where a player hopped up on steroids, literally SAs, a fellow college girl at a party, and they sweep it under the rug. There's players that have other people take their tests for them. It's one of those movies that dived really deep into what the problems are with the college sports system. And that's still happening to this day. It really is. The Reggie Bush thing in the early 2000s kind of popped the lid off of all that a little bit, but trust me, it's still going on. But the movie's so great, kind of spearheaded by James Caan as the coach of this team and Craig Schaefer as the, Heisman Trophy candidate quarterback who's got kind of an alcohol problem, and Christy Swanson, who he meets, who's a tennis person that's on scholarship for tennis, and Halle Berry and Omar Epps. There's so much going on in this movie. You have just such great characters, such a great tight script. I can see if somebody watched it nowadays, they'd be like, well, we've seen this before, but you hadn't yet then. And this movie came out in 1993, and it's not a comedy. It's a drama. There's moments of levity here and there, but this isn't a true story. This is just a movie written and directed by David S. Ward, covering the basis of what it is like and the experience of being like a college football player at a really big, and it's a fictional college, ESU. But I love it for its honesty and for its rawness and just the characters. I mean, this was in that time where Omar Epps was like in Love and Basketball, in The Program, in Higher Learning, and he was like the black guy that was cast as an athlete who gets a scholarship to a college for a certain sport in like every freaking year.
Malik is the first one in the hood to go to college. Yeah. Finally, someone from the hood is gonna make it. Here it is, Hope.
This is the real ugly side of sports, and like building up people's dreams only to and not only building them up, but keeping them safe from doing stupid things, which teaches them all the wrong lessons. And that's what the system still in a way does to this day. So love this movie.
My number 2, this time we're stepping into the ring. Airbud MMA.
Dude, he keeps doing this to us. God damn it.
My real number 2 is going to be a Rocky movie, but it is not Rocky 1, it's not Rocky 2, and it's not Rocky 3, it is Rocky 4. The Rocky movies are kind of the template for sports movies, and Rocky 4 is still following that template to some degree. It's got its variations from what the original is, but such a fun Rocky movie. I mean, I love every Rocky movie, even part 5. I'm a big fan of all Rocky movies, into the Creed movies and everything. I like them all. But this is my favorite of the bunch. Big part of that is Ivan Drago. I think he's one of the best antagonists in all sports movies. A lot of times the antagonist is like, your own doubt or your own skill set or your coach or whatever. But this is a competitor that you face to face. He really is that intimidating. Like those scenes where you see him training and just the look on his face, the way he's pummeling the bag and things like that. Like he is a scary motherfucker. And when he enters the ring with Apollo Creed, you're afraid for Apollo. But yeah, this movie's filled with other great performances as well. I think Stallone still gives a great performance. Obviously, Rocky 3 and 4 starts veering into a little bit more popcorn kind of filmmaking, less of that kind of serious 70s filmmaking that you got with the first two films. As a child of the 80s, I love all that cheese. Paulie is great in this. He's super funny in this one. And then, Rocky stops the Cold War in this movie. Turns all of Russia against Gorbachev and
Did he get an Oscar for that?
If I could change, and you could change.
Everybody should change.
Adrian. We can all change. This movie is only 2/3 of a movie, though. It is 1/3 a music video.
There's no easy way out. There's no shortcut home.
This movie stops no less than 6 times to have full-on music videos. But great music. I love the music in this movie so much. I love every single one of those 6 music videos. I don't want them to cut any of them.
You can do it, put your back into it. Come on. I can do it, put your into it.
I am glad that this is only 2/3 a movie and 1/3 of a music video, because that is what the identity of Rocky 4. That's like, that music is the DNA of Rocky 4. The movie is basically on like James Brown's Coke supply through the whole movie. There's just Rocky 4. It hits, man.
Yeah.
Hits the spot.
Number 2 is Raging Bull. An older movie, has Robert De Niro in it, which he's awesome in it. I like Rocky, but it's almost like the opposite of Rocky. The character Robert De Niro's playing, Jake LaMotta, who's a real person, is the complete opposite of Rocky. He's not a good guy. He's an asshole. He beats his wife. He's possessive, and he's striving to be the best boxer. He's always cutting weight. Wants to beat Sugar Ray Robinson, who he fought, I think, 5 or 6 times, and he lost like 5. He wins at the end, but there's some unintentional comedy in that, where best friend, who Joe Pesci plays, he's just super paranoid and jealous. Joe Pesci might be talking to his wife, and he gets weirded out while he's cutting weight, and she might cook a steak wrong or something like that, and he just gets crazy, and he beats up his best friend about it. Jake LaMotta, the character Robert De Niro played, didn't end well. It was realistic, and it was based on a true story. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to put it in my top 5.
It's already one that's been mentioned. It's Kevin Costner again, and we've already done a video on it. Ladies and gentlemen, Tin Cup.
Nice.
I just won't even get into it. We've already talked about it. I really liked the music that Ben added over the original film's music when we did the video. So if you haven't seen that video, check it out. It's really good. If you haven't seen that movie, like, what rock are you living under? Like, go see that movie. It's fantastic.
I just love Rene Russo in the miniskirt in this movie, personally. But
well, at this point in time, it's the one consensus pick between the 3 of us, so deserves the trophy as one of the best sports movies ever.
My number 1 pick, it's been my favorite sports movie since I was a kid, and that's Major League. Also directed by David S. Ward, who did The Program. This one being an amazing, very adult sports comedy that came out in 1989. I think I was 12 when it came out. Saw it in the theater a bunch of times, and my dad was like, how was it? And I was like, Dad, you have to see this movie. And then when my dad saw it, he's like, it's been one of his favorite movies his entire life as well. I mean, Tom Berenger, Charlie Sheen, Corbin Burnson, Wesley Snipes, Bob Uecker in just a legendary performance as Harry Doyle. He is so funny. He's basically playing himself.
That's all. We got one goddamn hit.
You can't say goddamn on the air.
Don't worry, nobody's listening anyway.
And another Rene Russo movie. She is the love interest of Jake Taylor, who's played by Tom Berenger. A movie that was made in the late 80s, but doesn't feel dated. Like, yeah, there's clothes and stuff like that here and there, but it's so focused on the baseball and the locker room and the field that you don't really get a sense of, being super 80s out from fashion and stuff like that. I'm not even a huge baseball fan, but this movie is just like the perfect sports comedy, even the perfect sports movie. Because you have a movie where, and again, this has been done a gazillion times since, but at the time it was like, you have your evil CEO wants to create a ragtag shitty team so that the team can fail and that she can start a new team in Miami with a whole new stadium and all that. That's the beginning of the story. And then when you get to meet all of the players that are coming into it, you're just like, oh, wow. So every character so distinct. You have Willie Mays Hayes as from Wesley Snipes, and you have Wild Thing Ricky Vaughn.
Yeah, the names are great.
Yeah, Wild Thing Ricky Vaughn is just getting out of prison. He's just got a little trash bag over his shoulder with his clothes. And Pedro Serrano shows up, and then you have Corbin Burnson's character who's got he shows up to spring training with his golf bag, like he's gonna play golf somewhere or something. There's also serious moments in it too, like when Corbin Burnson's character is messing with Charlie Sheen's character Ricky Vaughn so much that they start fighting in the locker room, and they have this whole kind of rivalry, even though they do kind of work out their issues and become a team, and they do find out that the CEO is trying to tank them as a team. They do get better, but they don't make it like all the way.
Every time we win, we peel a section.
So I appreciate that the movie doesn't like have them win the World Series. It just allows them to get into the playoffs. And for them, that's enough to secure that the team is not going to get wiped out and get sent to Florida or whatever. I love this movie. It just always, if I'm like depressed or just having a bad day and I put this movie on, it just makes me smile. It's so funny. Like, Harris is one of the funniest characters in the movie. So many lines. Up your butt, Joe Boo. Bartender, Joe Boo needs a refill. There's so many one-liners in this movie that are iconic. Yeah, this movie just does it for me. There's no way. When I said, hey, do you guys want to do a top sports movie? This was always going to be at the top of my list. It's not even close. Love Major League.
Yo, bartender, Joe Boo needs a refill. And watch it! Hustle, go!
So we got golf as a number one, baseball as a number one, and then Johnny Boy here. Better not be an Air Bud movie.
It's gonna be.
I'm sure it's gonna be
Ninja
first.
Warrior.
Oh!
Ninja Warrior is number one. It's a movie that combines two things I find very boring: baseball and math. Moneyball. Moneyball is deserving of its spot.
It sure
Moneyball is deserving of its spot as a top sports movie. Moneyball is deserving of its spot as a top movie in general, a best picture quality movie. I love this movie, and it's not very sports centric. It's not focused on the on-field play, but it is very much entrenched in the world of baseball and the sport of baseball. This was written by Aaron Sorkin. That is the standout. I mean, great performances, but the screenplay, the dialogue, the witty and insightful dialogue all throughout
it feels like a Fincher movie almost in a way.
Yeah, it's got that feel. The director is Bennett Miller, who went on to do Foxcatcher previously. Before this, had done Capote. So interesting filmmaker. This is the one that I really love of his. great performances. Brad Pitt and Jonah Hill have great chemistry.
Yeah.
Well, that was the other thing I was going to mention was
Atterberg.
Chris Pratt. This is the first time I ever saw Chris Pratt in a movie.
Scott Hatterberg.
And he's great in it. The three leads are excellent. I love all the other.
Robin Wright Penn has a great supporting
She's
role.
great in it. So yeah, it's a great cast, a great screenplay, fascinating for a layman who doesn't know much about baseball or statistics. Keeps it interesting and approaches a sports movie unlike any other movie before, but still becomes a great sports movie and even leads to an exciting conclusion. That's what you typically are watching a sports movie to see some kind of big exciting conclusion, and this still has that, but along the way you're dealing with math and statistics more than actually playing a sport. But it's very interesting and a great insight into the behind the scenes of baseball, getting to see things that you normally wouldn't see, like trade deals and cutting players and meeting with the owners. And I love the scene with the scouts. It has all of the drama of a traditional will they win sports movie, but it's not focused on them out on the field and playing. And the conclusion of the movie is less about where their season ended, but the streak, the big payoff. And that's, again, one of my favorite moments in any sports movie is what they call the streak, the momentum that's building as they win, each win that they build off of. They're breaking records along the way. Each player is getting his moment to shine to kind of make his mark on what's considered the streak. It leads up to game 20, where we get to see a little bit of that game play out. That walk-off home run by Pratt's character, Hattenberg or whatever his name is, brings the house down, just makes you so amped up and excited for that moment and what everybody in that stadium was feeling, and really baseball fans in general, because whether you like the A's or not, it's always exciting to see records broken. A record like that had lasted for so long. Brad Pitt's character goes into the tunnel or wherever he goes away from everybody to have his moment of victory in quiet by himself. It's so cathartic. I don't know. I think it's a very realistic thing that you could see coaches or a director of a movie. The person who has all of this pressure on them, everything passes through them in terms of decision making. Yeah. When it all pays off, it's almost like you can't have that moment of victory with the people who got you there. You need to go have it yourself. So Moneyball, like I said, it's one of the only sports movies to ever make it onto my best picture list. It's funny, you guys have been to my house, you've seen my little setup where I have my best picture movies up on top of my DVD racks. And I often look at Moneyball as a weird outlier.
So coming in at number 1 is Warrior. Unexpectedly very good. This movie really blew me away. It had a lot of good pieces. One, you have two brothers that are estranged, an alcoholic father, Nick Nolte, Joel Edgerton, and Tom Hardy playing the brothers. The story was just really good. You had two brothers that were estranged. They had the alcoholic father. One took care of his mother when the alcoholic father left. The other went to college and left him. The two brothers are Tommy and Brendan. Brendan's the older brother. Brendan went a different route. He left Tommy with his mother, trained with his dad, and they both trained in wrestling, fighting, whatever. Joel Edgerton starts pursuing MMA. Teachers find out, he gets suspended, whatever. He goes back to full MMA, and you have Frank Grillo there, who's a great actor. Love Frank Grillo. And they're hesitant about him because, he was an average fighter at the time, but he's very determined because he's losing his house. He has to make ends meet, and and then you have his brother Tommy, who comes back from the military, and he goes to his dad, and his dad starts training him.
I've done it. I've seen it. You can trust me. I understand. You spare me the compassionate father routine, Pop.
The movie is so important to me. When they get to the final match, they meet and they have a conversation. The younger brother Tommy is basically tells Brendan, the older brother, that he doesn't hurt that Brendan left their mother while Tommy took care of her while she died. And Brendan fights Kurt Angle. He fights Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle's in this. He's called Kobo. Big match. Kobo was favored to win the whole freaking tournament. Brendan beats him in the third round. He's all beat up, but he still won. And then they go to the final match. So the finals are brother against brother, and it comes out that he's a war hero, but he went AWOL. So one's fighting for his house. The other is fighting for one of his falling brother's families, where he promised them he would give him money. In the fourth round, after they're fighting, Brendan gets him in a arm bar. Tommy won't submit, and he breaks his arm. Ends up choking him out in the fifth round, and then he helps him out of the ring, and they embrace. It was kind of a tearjerker. This is my favorite sports movie of all time. I've watched it a bunch of times.
Yes. Well, we made it through, ladies and gentlemen. We still have 0-0 as the score.
Like a soccer game.
It's 0-0-0, ladies and gentlemen.
Cinema Gulp Universe, thanks for watching. And at Cinema Gulp, we drink your sports drinks.